can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
ESBR Boxing in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home of betting tips and analysis of a wide range of sports, including boxing. Click the link in the description to find out more. But I'm here, obviously, with Paul Kelly. We're here to talk about boxing, and we're here to give a preview of the Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez fights that are taking place on that super card over in the US in Times Square, New York, coming up over this weekend. Paul, obviously, we like to sort of get in. We'll explore some of the themes in this fight, sort of subsequent to the first question I'm going to ask you, Paul, which is straight out the gate, really. Is what are your thoughts, your initial thoughts and reactions on this fight? How competitive you think this fight will be before you also slide straight into giving us a prediction, Paul? Talk to me.
Yeah, pleasure as always, mate. Thanks for having me on. I mean, it's a good fight, I suppose. It's not the fight we wanted to see. I suppose we maybe wanted to see Haney and Garcia fight each other rather than both fighting on the same card. But hopefully, if they both get the job done, then that will be next. But yeah, I think on paper this is a really good fight. I think it is competitive. You look at Jose Ramirez, and he's a big name. He's a former unified super lightweight champion. Only defeats are obviously to Josh Taylor and Arnold Barboza Jr. And then you look at Haney, and technically undefeated now with the no contest having been beaten originally by Ryan Garcia. Um, I think at his best, Devin Haney wins this. I think Devin Haney will win this. I think he'll outpoint Ramirez and beat him via decision, unanimous, probably fairly. I think maybe Ramirez might win a few rounds, but I do see it being fairly one-sided in favor of Devin Haney. That being said, I'm interested to see how Haney, kind of bounces back because he got knocked down three times in his last fight, and that whole Ryan Garcia thing, like nobody thought he was going to lose it just with the mental state I suppose Ryan Garcia was in. So it's interesting to see how he bounced back, whether or not that had an effect on him. I also think, I mean, this is obviously his welterweight debut, Devin Haney. So I mean, that's an interesting one for me. Where I think it plays into his hands is he's not fighting a fully fledged welterweight in my opinion. Jose Ramirez is a career super lightweight. Devin Haney's obviously was had a few fights there and was undisputed champion I think at super lightweight there for a while as well. So it's not like he's fighting a big welterweight. He's kind of fighting someone who's going to be the same size, if not even a little bit smaller than him, in stature. So yeah, I see Devin Haney winning this fight, and I see him winning it via decision, mate. What about yourself?
Yeah, you know what? You hit the nail on the head there for me when you said it'd be interesting to see how Devin Haney comes back from what happened against Ryan Garcia. I think that for me is the main theme as well as the weight, like you say, down, around 7, 10, and 11, like obviously if you look at it that way, kind of a long fight, a tough fight. He obviously didn't win, but then kind of, for extenuating circumstances has been no contested. So I think it's interesting to see how he comes back from that psychologically. This is a good fight to come straight back into, to be perfectly honest. It's not a gimme fight. I agree with you that I think it'll go the distance. I don't think that Ramirez has got the sort of will stop Haney. To be honest with you, I don't think he will. I think also that Devin Haney, we've seen his KO percentage is quite low. He's not a big puncher in that way. I can see it being a kind of slick Devin Haney performance, to be honest with you, and a points victory as well. So we are in alignment here. I do think Haney probably by sort of 8-4 distance. I see him being a sort of I think reactions and general kind of speed and elusivity being sort of the difference here. So I'm going to have Devin Haney on points as well. But I suppose the question I'm going to ask you then, we're talking about Haney, moving up, like you said, obviously lightweight, super lightweight, now obviously down there, up there, sorry, moving up to sort of welter. Do you think he could become a three-weight world champion at this weight? Do you see this as a weight that he can win a belt at? Do you even possibly, Paul, see him going beyond this and winning one at super welter, or do you think three-weight world title sort of is a limit for him?
Yeah, I can see him becoming a three-weight world champion. I could see him winning a belt at welter. I can. It depends on the landscape, obviously. But Dennis has two of those belts now. Like if he moves up, it looks like the IBF might be contested with Donovan and Crocker, vacant title potentially. Then does the WBA? Does Devin Haney get it? I could see him. I could see him getting a shot. Um, at the end of, I suppose, say him and he fights Ryan Garcia at the end of the year. Welterweight. There's likelihood is if there's a vacant title, one of them will throw it. With like in body, will throw it on that fight because both are obviously like top level fighters, big names as well. So I think, yeah, I think he can become a three-weight world champion. I think he wins a belt at welterweight. Beyond that, no, I'm going to say no. I don't think he's big enough for even super welter. To be honest with you, mate, light middle, not for me. But yes, right here, right now, he's still only 26 years of age as well. That's the thing. I think there's almost no doubt in my mind he probably will at some stage become three-weight world champion and win that belt at 147. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think, like you said, Boots moves up. I think there's every chance he can fight for world title and every chance he can win. I think if you're interested to see, like you said, if he fights Garcia for a world title at the weight, obviously see what happened to him previously. But yeah, I think he's got the skills definitely. I think I also fully agree with you. I don't think he can necessarily go much higher than that, if at all higher than that. I think, like we said, he's not necessarily a big puncher even at the weights he's campaigned at. So, for example, will those guys that he goes in with? I mean, imagine him sort of going up sort of super welter, and the difference in size between him and sort of someone like Fundora would be absolutely ridiculous. It'd just be kind of, I mean, it is with Fundora and anyone anyway, but even those other guys that Mertz, Talia, those guys that just like they're just body weight's different, their body shapes is different, their composition's different. I think he would just look significantly smaller. So for me, I wouldn't have him up there, frankly. I wouldn't have the power to keep some of those guys off. So I think yeah, welterweight is the limit. But I do think he'll win a world title there and become three world title. And I think there's obviously a lot of money fights in those kind of divisions, aren't there, as well, when you kind of get people moving up several sort of pounds away or moving up a couple of divisions to make those sort of big fights. So yeah, I definitely think he can do that. But I suppose we've touched on it a little bit here. I just want to get your prediction on it, where it to happen, and that obviously Haney versus Ryan Garcia in a rematch taking place at welterweight for a world title. Who are you backing, Paul? Tell me and why.
Mate, every fiber in my body said Devin Haney was going to beat Ryan Garcia that first time. But then having watched it and the way it played out, yes, question marks over the whole was he on performance enhancing drugs, Garcia? I mean, there's arguments for and against, whatever, blah blah blah. I kind of just can't see him beating Ryan Garcia. I think Ryan Garcia is far bigger as well. Like we saw on that night, yes, he missed weight and all, but even about welter, I think he's going to be even bigger than that. Looks like he's got his headspace in the right place now as well. Ryan Garcia, he knocked him down three times, like, and then the whole big thing of its psychological edge. He'll have a massive psychological edge over Devin Haney now, and Haney will know that deep down. So I would actually back Ryan Garcia to beat Devin Haney if they were to fight for well, before the end of the year, early 2026, whenever, I do believe that Ryan Garcia will beat Devin Haney. Yeah.
My eyes wide and my eyebrows did raise, but as they did, Paul's did when we were talking about Tiro Lopez versus Arnold Barboza Jr. And that is not because of disagreement; that is because of agreement. I agree with Paul. I actually don't think Devin Haney could beat Ryan Garcia. I really don't. I feel like the psychological impact of that defeat. I mean, you talk about performance enhancing substances we want as well, but it was so dominant. I just kind of don't see a way he can kind of come back from that. And I feel like even without the sort of substances, I still think, like we said, Haney's not the most powerful. Obviously, he can be elusive, he can be slick, but Ryan Garcia is very, very talented as well, despite all the kind of Instagram nonsense and there's some of the sort of wilder things he sort of tends to come out with. He's a very, very talented fighter. So no, I actually don't think either. I think if he moves up, in many ways, to me, that favors Ryan Garcia. Doesn't have to sort of cut down and kind of like be a bit more comfortable. Hopefully, gets himself, as you say, keeps on this kind of path that he's on currently. And I think Ryan Garcia would win that fight as well. Do I think KO? I don't know. Don't know, maybe points, but I just think Ryan Garcia would beat you. I think he's one of those sort of styles we sit there and go, is Jack Catterall better than Josh Taylor? No, in my mind, he's not. But it's just one of those styles that just, when even time you put him in the ring, it's almost like one man's going to prevail. So I just kind of see that happening here as well. I just feel like Garcia's got his number. So for me, if they did fight in the rematch, it would be a Garcia victory. So I suppose if we're talking about Haney become world champion, he needs to fight someone other than Ryan Garcia for a belt to come through a world champion. But Paul, that is all we have got time for, guys. Let us know in the comments really whether you agree. Firstly, I suppose on the predictions of the Haney versus Ramirez fight. Secondly, how I suppose the Haney versus Garcia fight, how you see that one going, and also how far you think Devin Haney can go through the weights. Like and subscribe to the channel. I've just got all your boxing needs up under one roof. Previews coming from this card also as well. Check those out. Lopez and Barboza, also Garcia versus Roddy Romero. Paul, but as always, a joy to speak to you. Thank you very much for joining me. And guys, as always, thank you very much for watching.